Despite the primetime opinion programming on Fox News continuing to be 99.9% aggressively in favor of the president, there are more and more sort of little cracks in the narrative at Fox News. And I have another one for you today. This is from Fox News legal analyst Andrew Napolitano, who's a former judge. Napolitano suggested something that we've all actually been saying for a long time, who are on the side of logic, reason, and just observing what is out there in the world, which is that Donald Trump may be unfit to serve as president. This is aside from his policy views. This is aside from the corruption and the bribery and everything else. This is not something you typically hear on Fox News, which makes it more important. It makes it more notable that that is the venue in which it is being said. So we'll take a look at it. This is from Judge Andrew Napolitano's program, Liberty File on Fox Nation. I mean, it's all terrible, right? These can't be the people we are looking to for solutions in society. But when they point out the obvious, it actually does say a little something. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
In nearly 3 years in office, President Donald Trump has spent federal dollars not authorized by Congress, separated families and incarcerated children at the Texas-Mexico border in defiance of a federal court order, pulled 1,000 American troops out of Syria, ignoring a commitment to allies and facilitating war against civilians there, and sent 2,000 American troops to Saudi Arabia without a congressional authorization or declaration of war. He has also criminally obstructed a Department of Justice investigation of himself, but escaped prosecution because of the intercession of an attorney general more loyal to him than to the Constitution. The Constitution. At the outset of his presidency, Trump took the presidential oath of office, promising that he would faithfully execute his obligation to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution.
So here, Judge Andrew Napolitano is laying out some of the actions of Donald Trump that are problematic. But then later in his monologue, he gets to the bigger picture of Donald Trump's fitness for office. And he's pointing out, initially he points out all the ways in which Donald Trump is flouting the Constitution. He's ignoring the rule of law. But then Judge Andrew Napolitano gets to this bigger picture issue of Trump's fitness.
President Trump has become known for forceful and often tasteless banter. He publicly calls people crude names, uses foul language, and sends dog whistles of lawless behavior to many of his supporters. All of that is a question of free speech, personal taste, and political risk. But threats to ignore parts of the Constitution are not matters of speech, taste, or risk. They reveal character traits that question the president's fitness for office.
Now, he's not saying that it's because of possible cognitive decline or early dementia. He's not saying it's because of possible amphetamine abuse, which we've been talking about. But he is at least talking about fitness, which, again, you don't hear this on Fox News in typical circumstances. Now, as a result of that, Andrew Napolitano may well end up like Shep Smith, meaning no longer working at Fox News. But at the same time, let's not underestimate the possibility of this as a strategy. These little sporadically planted counterpoints to Donald Trump, including on their Fox Nation shows, which are, I think Fox Nation is only online or maybe buried somewhere on some cable systems. These little counterpoints to Trump could be a setup to pivot away from Trump as more and more supporters jump ship. If that happens, we're just in unprecedented territory. We have no idea ultimately what might happen. The circumstances today couldn't be more different in Donald Trump's fight for re-election than they were, for example, when George W. Bush was trying to get reelected in 2004. Back in 2004, there was no impeachment inquiry against George W. Bush. Fox News was totally behind him. The Republican establishment was totally behind him. In 2019 into 2020, Donald Trump is facing an impeachment inquiry. There are more Republicans than we typically see in a Republican administration who are disgusted with what Trump is doing. You are seeing cracks in the armor of the right-wing establishment media narrative. So it is unprecedented territory. Andrew Napolitano could simply be ignored because Fox figures nobody's really watching this guy on Fox Nation. He could be there specifically to do these things, to give Fox cover, to say we have ideological balance, or he could be there to lay the groundwork in case Fox decides they go a different direction when it comes to their support of Trump in 2020, although I don't find it particularly likely.